Hey folks, I'm here with Simon Raven of Raven Energy Solutions. Why don't you tell us what you're doing here and what your company does?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. So I'm consulting right now. Raven Energy Solutions is my independent company. I'm working with energy companies and Bitcoin miners and really trying to bridge that gap between the two. Ultimately, Bitcoin's reliant on energy, and in the energy industry, there's a lot of wasted energy. And the future and the evolution of this space is going to require more and more cooperation and synergy between those two sides. And there's still quite a big gap there. A lot of my colleagues, I spent 23 years in the oil and gas space in Canada. And most of my friends and colleagues work for oil and gas companies. And when I talk to them, and I talk to senior management in this space around, what do you understand about digital assets? What do you understand about Bitcoin? What do you understand about Bitcoin mining and data centers? 9 out of 10 are still very mystified and don't really understand the space. So I'm acting in a real kind of bridging role right now and working on education and engagement with folks on the energy side. And I'm partnered with a small mining company, and we're in the process of actually rebranding and launching a new effort to essentially build and scale our own remote data center business. And really excited about that because it's not a new idea. There's a lot of Bitcoin miners out there, but with our connections to the oil and gas space, we're just going to be leveraging those relationships to get access to flare gas and orphan wells and stranded energy, which is, I think, really powerful on a couple fronts. One, it's really low-cost energy input. This gas is being wasted, right? So it's essentially zero-cost fuel. We really just have to operate and run the generators to make power. So we have a really robust, low OPEX business and really good mining margins. And the other really big benefit is just environmental and efficiency benefit. This is gas that's being burnt and wasted and flared to atmosphere. So you've got CO2 emissions and zero return for that energy. So there's a real win-win there, is taking otherwise wasted energy and turning it into something valuable.
Typically, environmentalists, or let's say ESG folks, would be quite opposed and even, I would say, hostile to Bitcoin mining in particular and crypto more broadly. Are we seeing that change a bit? Because we've seen Fidelity and others come out with very, very eloquent reports, KPMG as well. Are you seeing a tipping point?
I am absolutely seeing a tipping point and a really big shift in that narrative, like almost 180-degree turn from Bitcoin mining's a waste of energy because of this lack of understanding of, why are we doing this? And if we're doing this new thing that we didn't do before as a society, and it's consuming a bunch of energy, well, then it must be wasteful. That's kind of where the narrative started. But as traditional industries or the broader population are starting to understand what Bitcoin is, that it's very, very likely here to stay and become part of the broader financial system, that A, it's necessary, B, it's valuable, it's providing a valuable service to society, and therefore it's not wasteful because it requires energy. And then just a lot more knowledge on how power grids work and how the energy consumption of Bitcoin is really, really flexible. For one, it's the only thing I'm aware of that can take stranded or flared gas where there's no infrastructure to take that gas to market and actually utilize it effectively. And then with the satellite link, send the data to the cloud, right? There's no other technology that can do that. So that's a powerful way to capture wasted energy. And then a big one, we've been working in the power generation space for a while now, and the grid stability is a massive issue. There's a lot of political noise in Canada and Alberta right now around clean energy regulations and net zero grids. I'm a big proponent of wind and solar and geothermal and gas-fired power. I think we need all of the above. But if we try to steer towards a fully renewable grid with no fossil fuel input, you don't have any baseload power. And the sun doesn't shine at night, and the wind doesn't always blow. This is just the physics of the system.
Yeah, and the location aspect
and
as well.
Location aspect. So we have to engineer grids that are resilient to support modern society. As we continue to electrify everything, we better have very resilient power grids. Bitcoin mining is the most flexible, interruptible load you can put on a grid. And you can turn it off instantly and feed that power back to the grid when needed. And it's not like turning off a factory or a steel foundry or a business or a bunch of homes in downtown Toronto or Calgary. You can't interrupt that load in most cases. Bitcoin mining can go offline. All the other nodes in the network are still mining. The system doesn't care. No one calls you to complain. It's a really powerful tool for grid stability and actually really supports the build out of more renewables. And so Yeah, the narrative is shifting. I think folks are understanding it. Power operators are understanding it. Politicians and governments managing these grids are understanding that this is a really powerful tool for managing renewables build out and grid stability. Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.